Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that beautiful time of your day where you explore the unconscious mind from the inside out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. And thank you, beloved soul friends, for being exactly you. You are already magic. Take a look at your hands. Be like, whoa, dang. You magic though, bae. You magic, you magic, you magic, you magic. Take a moment to thank yourself for being here exactly as you are, because you are a miraculous being of love and light, and you are worthy. Every part of you is worthy of feeling the great expanse of your own love. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Today we are going to explore checking behaviors. What's causing them neurobiologically, and how to begin taking steps towards healing by uniting parts of consciousness to communicatively collaborate to transmute energetic data that's lying at the core causality, the baseline, the roots of these battles. So checking behaviors stems from automated unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories. We have a vast array of memories inside of our neurobiological data, but the majority of it is all unconscious. We don't know that it's there, and we don't know when it's being activated and contributing to our personal sense of self and experience. It's happening beyond awareness. And so implicit procedural memories are types of action patterns. It's basically a muscle memory. And so our ability to move through life and recognize things or know how to do certain things, it's all stemming from implicit procedural memories that are being activated beyond awareness. And so when they're activated, it's helping us navigate life, but we have no idea that that information is coming from a memory. Okay? 80% of moment-by-moment decision-making, big and small, stems from unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories. And so when we move through our days, we think we're here, we think we're making a choice in the here and now, we think that what's happening in this moment stems from this moment because that's where we think we are. But really, the majority of it is coming from the unconscious activation of implicit memories beyond our awareness. And this is really important to know when we're healing ourselves, because if we think that everything is right here, we think we're right here, right now, and whatever's happening is about the present moment, then we're missing the opportunity to connect with the deeper truth regarding the neurobiological activations of consciousness that are impacting our personal sense of self and experience beyond all awareness, based on the automated activations of data gathered through past experience that was processed subjectively. So even if the experience was this, the experiential elements are not necessarily vibrationally processed into our neurobiological data as exactly what that was. It's all based on vibrational associations, which stems from a million different variables. And so if there was an ounce of nervous system dysregulation, then the experiential processing of that data is going to be disrupted. If there was an ounce of attachment need unfulfillment, then the processing of that data is going to be disrupted. And so there's all of this subjectivity. And on top of that, memory systems are not processed in neat little files. It's all based on associations. And so this little piece over here might connect with this little piece over here, but they're really not associated, but now they're associating. So it makes kind of a funny conclusion about life, but it's all happening unconsciously. And then your brain draws these very unique patterns of moving through life, because memory systems are not about housing the past. Our memory systems, neurobiologically speaking, could not care less about what has happened. Neurobiologically, our memory systems are all about navigating. Yeah, it happened again. That little motion where I do that is an automated activation of an implicit procedural memory. And it happens when there's particulars going on in the back of my brain beyond awareness. There's a very specific thing where this is accessing very particular pathways, and those pathways connect with this very specific pathway, which leads to an action pattern of me doing this. It's an implicit procedural memory. That's why little things like that happen. I'm not consciously saying, okay, let me do that. It happens automatically. It's a type of muscle memory. It's something that I've done before, and the neural network it's associated with became activated based on something I was saying or some gesture I was making with my hands, and it activated that action pattern beyond awareness. That's how it works. It's all so automatic and unconscious. Okay, anyway. Neurobiologically speaking, our memory systems are all about navigating the current moment and the potentials of moments to come. And so we're here right now, we're moving through our moments. The way we move through our moments is completely dependent on the processing of past experience into our memory systems. Memory systems create our navigational guidance through our now and the potentials of nows to come. All of our navigation comes from memory systems housed unconsciously in the neurobiological cells of our subconscious realms. Our unconscious mind is comprised of neural networks, 100 trillion neural networks in our brain, and a vast array of other neural networks inside of our body. And that data, those specific energetic vibrational frequencies gathered through past experiences that are very subjectively processed, are where our navigational guidance comes from in our current moments. We have to understand this if we're going to understand any kind of internal battle, such as checking behaviors. Okay, so checking behaviors stem from automated unconscious activation of an implicit procedural memory regarding approach avoidance tendencies and or a survival response. Those are what the core of implicit procedural memories are. So patterns of approach and avoidance and survival responses. Those are the core of implicit procedural memories. And so when we're moving through our days, we have all of these choices about where to direct our focus. And so if you see someone you know, you might have an automated instinctive activation to walk up to them and say hello, or you might have an automated instinctive inclination to kind of turn your head away and keep moving through your day without needing to be seen. You're approaching or avoiding. When you walk past a slice of chocolate cake on the counter, you either approach it and walk up to it and take a bite, or you look at it and then you look away and you keep going and you avoid it. Every single moment holds some kind of approach or avoidance. We are always approaching or avoiding something in our minds and or physically. And so our thoughts might approach something or our thoughts might avoid something. Our feelings might approach something or our feelings might avoid something. Our body might approach something or our body might avoid something. Those are all stemming from implicit procedural memories housed unconsciously and being activated beyond our awareness, contributing to life in a way that we cannot instinctively identify the energetic frequency as activation of a memory. We have no idea that what we're going through comes from a memory. Okay, so when there's some kind of checking behavior, it's stemming from an implicit procedural memory. And that's affecting 80% of decision making, big and small, beyond awareness for all of humankind. Every person on the planet, regardless of particulars, 80% of decision making, moment by moment, big and small, stems from the automated unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories. Specifically, that is citing Peter Levine, 2015. So, checking behaviors. The thing about memory system data is that it is housed on top of attachment system data. Thus, the styles in which attachment needs are fulfilled within unfolding moments influences the manner in which experiential elements are processed into particulars of memory data. And so memory data has different styles of connectivity because memory systems are all about associations. So you've got this one abstract energetic vibrational frequency with a piece of information, and you have this other energetic vibrational frequency with a very abstract conceptualization of something, and then they have some form of a connection. Harmonious coupling is the phrase that I use to describe when it's the very healthy associations. There's this data and there's this data, and they understand that they're these distinct things, but they have an ability to communicate. But then there's overcoupling, and there's no distinction, and they're all up in each other's spaces. And because they're all up in each other's spaces, there's great angst. And then there's undercoupling, where they're distinct, but they have no connection. This piece over here has no idea that this even exists. And so there's no ability for communication at all. Too much communication, not any communication. The goal is healthy communication between pieces of memory data. And this is all talking about neurobiology. This has nothing to do with parts of consciousness. Just to clarify that. This has absolutely nothing to do with parts of consciousness. This is all talking about neurobiological wiring, specifically in our unconscious mind, according to my diagrams of consciousness. So, checking behaviors stemming from implicit procedural memory activation, but beneath the implicit procedural memory, is an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. And that's what caused the implicit procedural memory to have this chronic thing that's causing disruption within the navigational guidance of our moments, okay? So, for example, if you're cooking and you step away for a minute, you might have a thought of, I should check the stove. And you turn back and you check the stove. In that case, a piece of memory data was helping to effectively navigate the moment for optimal thrival. But what if you're done cooking and you go outside and you sit and relax and you keep having a chronic thought of, I need to check the stove, I need to check the stove. What if the stove's off? 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 What if the stove's still on? What if the stove's still on? What if my house is burning down? I need to go check the stove. 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 What then? What's happening then? There's pieces of memory data that are making too many associations, too many messages, too much, because they're overcoupled. Why? How did the memory data get overcoupled? Because of an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. Specifically, checking behaviors stem from the second subconscious realm within my diagrams of consciousness, which are all associated with a felt sense. It's the most important part, a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and provision. Those are the attachment needs in a second subconscious sector within my diagrams of consciousness. All checking behaviors stem from activation of implicit procedural memories that have developed and been filed away on top of attachment data where these needs, one or all of them, were not met. And here's the thing, though, that we really gotta understand about this stuff. It does not matter what happened outside. Externally, there may have been safety, protection, and provision, and security. Or maybe there wasn't. It doesn't matter. What only matters is what was happening internally as experiential elements were energetically processed into vibrational frequencies of data. It does not matter what happened outside of us ever, because that's not where experience comes from. Experience doesn't come from outside of us. 100% of personal experience comes from inside of our neurobiological applications of consciousness. And so all of this stuff gets processed in here, but the data in here is not always exactly what was happening out here, because it's all subjective vibrational energetic frequencies of abstract nanoscopic data. Our body doesn't take a moment and put it in a box and house it somewhere inside of us. Abstract vibrational frequencies that make various forms of connectivity, creating an energetic flow within our unconscious mind. And that's what's creating our uniquely individualized sense of self and personal encounters with life experience. And so, this is especially important when we look at early childhood development. Because especially during these formative years, the left brain hemisphere is not there to provide explicit physicality and linearity and these realistic conceptualizations of things. Life experience is processed primarily through the right brain hemisphere, which is all feelings and energy and abstraction, and it has nothing to do with this is the fact, and this is what happened, and this is step by step, this occurred, and this. No, it's this abstract energetic flow that doesn't have a conceptualization of linearity or organization or fact. It's feeling, and it's nonlinear, and it's abstract, and it's ever-flowing. And that part of our brain is what's processing the majority of early childhood experiences, if not all of them. The left brain hemisphere is very slowly playing catch-up. But our right brain is like, what's up? I'm all of life. And so when something happens during early childhood development, It might not have even been a really, really, really severe instance where there wasn't safety. And maybe it was. Maybe it was a very severe instance where safety was not felt. But even in instances where it was something that from an adult's perspective seems minor and insignificant, or however we might describe things, even something like that could cause the development of this disintegrated or disconnected data. Okay, because, so everything's coming from for checking behaviors, things are coming from the activation of an implicit procedural memory based on an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. When it develops during early childhood, it could have been one singular moment that had some energetic intensity to it, where regardless of what was happening in the outside world, internally, there was not a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and or provision. And regardless of the facts of what was happening, there was not a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment. And then particulars of that moment became filed away as memory data, and it developed a protocol that created automated styles of thought forms, provoking checking behaviors or checking action patterns. Because that subconscious sector is constantly trying to help you feel safe. That part of your unconscious mind is constantly trying to help you feel secure. That part of your unconscious mind is constantly trying to provide for you and protect you. And so checking behaviors or checking action patterns is a better way to say it, because you're not behaving in a certain way. That implies some form of intentionality. It's an action pattern stemming from unconscious data in the body. The physical body vessel doesn't feel safe, and it's trying to. The unconscious body does not feel safe, but it wants to. That's why checking action patterns occur. Okay? So checking action patterns are created by the activation of implicit procedural memories that have disintegrated data, which just means that pieces of information aren't able to have really great communication with each other. There's either too much going on and it's not very clear. Like imagine two people just yelling at each other. Like nothing's actually being said or conveyed because there's just two people screaming at one another. That's a good representation of overcoupling. And then undercoupling is like two people at opposite ends of the city and they don't even know that the other person exists. And you're like, is there any communication happening? No? That's how it is with undercoupling. The goal of memory data is harmonious coupling, or it's like, hi, what's up? How's it going? I'm this piece of information. And then this piece is like, yo, I'm doing well. How's it going with you? Let me share what I know. Oh, let me share what I know. Yay, collaboration. That's like harmonious coupling. So disintegrated data just means that they can't do that. Pieces of information inside of our neurobiological cells, they just can't do that. That's what that means, okay? And again, integration and disintegration have nothing to do with consciousness, which is our self-essence. Parts of consciousness cannot be disintegrated. That's not a thing that is possible. It's not a thing that's possible, okay? Consciousness cannot ever be divided amongst itself. It's not possible. What's happening if there's feelings of disruption is just that neurobiological projections are creating particular styles of experience. But parts of consciousness can never be separated. Parts of consciousness are always whole and perfect. You are always whole and perfect. There's just pieces of neurobiological data that's like, I don't know how to communicate well. And we get to rewire that through the energetic expanse of our own infinite power, okay? The checking action patterns are created or occurring when there's unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories that have disintegrated data. And beneath that is an underlying unfulfilled attachment need regarding a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and or provision. So here's the really cool part. We don't actually need to go back and figure out when this started. We don't necessarily need to go back and be like, what was the experience where I didn't feel safe in? That is one route of healing, but there's other routes, so that's good. So a more effective way to go about healing is to begin meeting that attachment need here and now, because when you meet the attachment need in the present, then the associated data starts to heal itself. Okay, because memory data is housed on top of attachment data. The attachment needs are more foundational within our unconscious mind than the most unconscious of memory systems. So when we start to meet the attachment need, especially when we can pinpoint it, which for checking action patterns, it's a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and or provision. Once we can pinpoint the attachment need and vibrationally, energetically meet that for our parts of consciousness in the here and now, then the associated memory data starts to heal itself, and then the action patterns shift, and there's a reduction in the checking action patterns that automatically come up through thoughts and actual like bodily motions and stuff. And then we can gradually implement new energetic data to develop new protocols, new ways of having automated action patterns. So the first way to kind of go about starting to heal with this new super majestically miraculous awesomeness insight is to connect with consciousness. Okay, so consciousness is separate and distinct from neurobiology. All the stuff that needs to be healed is happening in neurobiology. Consciousness is already whole. Consciousness is already whole. It's already perfect. It's already healed. It's already a pure vibration of love. It's already a pure vibration of presence. It's the neurobiological data that actually needs to be healed, okay? But the good news is they're separate and distinct. They're separate and distinct energetic components of the human experience. And so consciousness is your true self. When you say, I am, the I that you are is consciousness. And then whatever it is that you're feeling, like I am or I feel hungry, that is a sensation being generated through your neurobiological data and wiring and applications, okay? But they're two distinct energetic components. And so the goal, the healing journey objective, is to rally parts of consciousness and then together work to rewire the data. But if you think that you are the data, it's pretty hard to rewire it, because then it's just like, how do I rewire me? But once you are here as consciousness, unified with all aspects working together, consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously, because we got 3 layers in our inner being and they all have aspects of consciousness. Once consciousness comes together and they're like, oh, what's up? I'm consciousness. I'm the actual person in this experience, and that is my wiring. I am not the wiring. I am here as consciousness. My wiring is there, and I can energetically transmute it. Then you can start to reprogram the neurobiological data that's causing any kind of internal battle, such as chronic checking action patterns. So, the very first step for this, the most effectively, magically wondrous way to implement magical energetic seeds of love to transmute your life experience from the inside out, is to connect with guardian parts of consciousness, which is a term that I use to describe parts of consciousness in the subconscious sector experiencing neurobiological projections from associated subconscious timelines. Connect with guardian parts from the grounded space of your observational awareness. So you've got this beacon building up in your brain. This beacon building up, and you got your prefrontal cortex and you've got your conscious awareness, and your conscious awareness is the aspect of consciousness flowing through the front parts of your brain, and that is the part that you are directly aware of in any given moment. And that's always where your power is. But this aspect of consciousness does not experience life. Your parts of consciousness, your subconscious parts, they're the ones experiencing life. And so you want to make sure that you're distinct up here and you're not down here. You're like, I'm a part of consciousness and I can't observe things and stuff. So your first job is to get up here. And you got to get up here. You got to get up here. You got to get up here in your beacon building. You got to get grounded in your conscious awareness. Once you're in your conscious awareness, once you're hanging out up in your beacon building, your conscious kingdom, once you're up here, then you can start to connect with your subconscious parts. Once you're connected with subconscious parts, then you can start to rewire your neurobiological data to shift your life experience from the inside out by transmuting the energies within your unconscious mind. Okay? So the first step Get grounded in your conscious self. What's up? I'm grounded. I can observe and I can choose my response, and I'm not the experience. I have power to look at the experience and move through it with intentionality. Once you're here, the best way to start connecting with your guardian parts is to acknowledge this intention or subconscious intention. There's a word I made up. It's kind of fun. Subconscious intention. Intention. To acknowledge this intention that's behind the checking action patterns. So whenever there's a checking behavior that comes up, whenever there's an automated thought form and or something that your body just automatically instinctively does regarding some form of checking, where you're checking something, okay, and that could look like a million different things. There's different types of checking action patterns, but whenever something like that comes up, observe it and then consciously choose to respond to your guardian parts, and acknowledging them by name helps. They will vibrationally feel it. They will vibrationally feel you acknowledging them specifically, because guardian parts know that that's who they are. Guardian parts hold an energetic vibrational frequency that vibrates along the realms of protecting love. They know that they are guardians of love. And when you acknowledge them as guardians, they will vibrationally feel that acknowledgement, and it's going to create some profound connections within you. So acknowledge your guardian parts, acknowledge this intention behind the automated thought forms and or behavioral action pattern type occurrences. And so instead of just automatically experiencing whatever comes up, notice it and respond to the parts of consciousness within the experience. Don't respond to the experience. Key distinction. You're not responding to the experience. You're responding to your inner experiencer. Because if you look at the experience, you're looking at neurobiological wiring, and that's not you. You are not the neurobiological wiring. So looking at that doesn't help. You got to look at you within the experience, which is your parts of consciousness, your inner experiencer. So once you're grounded here and you notice what's happening, you respond to the self of you that is within the experience. You don't respond to the experience, you respond to your inner experiencer. Very important distinction. Your consciousness will feel that energetic shift, I guarantee it. And when you respond from a space of compassionate love, acknowledging this intention behind the experience. Thank you, guardian parts, for wanting to keep me safe. Thank you, guardian parts, for trying to protect me. Thank you, guardian parts, for trying to encourage a sense of security within my being. Thank you, guardian parts, for trying to provide for me. Once your conscious self can acknowledge this intention that's behind these automated occurrences of experience, acknowledging the inner experiencer who is specifically within those moments, everything inside of you can start to energetically shift. And once your consciousness comes together, you have infinite power to rewire the neurobiological data automatically generating these types of experiences. Ground in the conscious self. Observe the experience. Respond to the inner experiencer. Connect with this intention behind the experience by thanking your guardian parts of consciousness for wanting to provide a sense of safety, security, protection, and provision for your being. Once consciousness comes together, you work together to create a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and provision. As you gradually, vibrationally, energetically meet this underlying attachment need, all of the associated memory data starts to transform itself. And then you can create new action patterns. You can decide how your brain and body automatically choose to move through life within your thoughts and feelings and your actions and patterns outside of you. Your internal and external realities can then hold new automated habits and tendencies that you choose for yourself. So, just to sum it all up, the neurobiological core causality of checking behaviors involves unconscious activation of implicit procedural memories based on disintegrated data filed away because of an underlying unfulfilled attachment need. And this could occur from any type of situation. And especially if it occurred sometime during early childhood development, it could have been one singular moment that might seem small and insignificant from an adult's perspective. But that's because of the way that the brain is still developing, and current experiences are processed primarily through the right brain hemisphere, which doesn't have a sense of fact and logicality and linearity and sequential organization of events. And so any type of experience with an energetic intensity that provoked any style of not feeling safe or not feeling secure or not feeling protected or not feeling provided for. And again, it doesn't matter what happened outside of you. It matters how it felt inside in that moment. That's all that matters with our neurobiological wiring. We are feelings-based creatures who think. We are not thinking-based creatures who feel. Said a very wonderful neuroscientist. A super radically incredible woman. So any type of moment of energetic intensity experienced at any time in life could have started this kind of thing. And then once this checking action pattern began, every time it was activated, it grew and it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. And the neural networks that are creating these types of thoughts and feelings and action patterns is just getting bigger and bigger in size. And you can start to, and it's all based on an underlying unfulfilled attachment need of a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and or provision. And you can start to heal it by grounding in your observational self, observing the experience, responding to your inner experiencer, connect with this intention behind the automated experience, acknowledge guardian parts of consciousness who are within the experience, and thank them for the intention of wanting to keep you safe, secure, protected, and provided. Once you connect these parts of your consciousness, once you connect the conscious self of you and the subconscious parts of you, then together you can collaborate and start to meet underlying unfulfilled attachment needs. You can start to create energetic vibrational experiences for all parts of yourself so that there is a felt sense of safety, security, protection, and provision. Once the attachment need is fulfilled in the here and now, the memory data, whether it was from a year ago or 25 years ago, it automatically starts to transmute. And then there's a gradual reduction in these checking action patterns and the styles of thoughts, feelings, and action steps of the body, the gradual reduction. And then once you're kind of in that place of power, you can start to choose new action patterns to implement into your own brain wiring. And you can choose the kinds of thoughts, feelings, and automated action patterns that you innately experience. You can start to choose them by growing those energies inside of your neurobiological wiring. Thank you so much for joining me for this Conversations with Kristin. It has been an absolute blessed, sacred honor to connect with you in this Healing Journey Day. If you would ever like to get together one-on-one through a consciousness consulting call, I would be absolutely honored to serve as a Healing Journey guide so that you have all of the power you need to transform your life experience from the inside out by rewiring your neurobiological data of your unconscious mind and liberating all parts of your consciousness so that you have full authority within the unfolding storybook of your life, so that you have power within your sense of self and within your experience. Every part of you is worthy of loving liberation. Every part of you has the power to embody happiness. The pursuit of happiness is old news. We now have the knowledge, the tools, the awareness, the ability, the power, the insight, and the opportunity to embody happiness, to rewire our neurobiological data so that it automatically generates sensations of happiness, projects vibrational frequencies of love into subconscious realms so that parts of consciousness innately feel happy. healthy, whole, safe, secure, worthy, loved, connected, supported, free, confident. All of these sensations are coming from the neurobiological wiring of our unconscious minds, and we always have power to transmute that energy. And that is what I am best at in this lifetime. I would be absolutely honored to serve as a healing journey guide. You can book a session with me or find out more about who the heck I am and what I do at KristinWindsor.com. I've also created a series of free gifts for you beloved soul friends. So many mega magics, insights about recognizing automated unconscious activations of implicit memories, which is brand new neuroscientific discoveries that I've discovered through my case studies these past couple of years. You can learn how to rewire your brain in some very easy, simple steps you can apply in your everyday healing journey of life. You can have tools for helping heal your attachment systems. There's so many different resources. You can grab all of those super mega magical free gifts of love from my heart to yours at KristinWindsor.com/gifts. And both of those links are here in the video description below, so please feel free to explore that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for your tender courage and rising up into your personal power by lovingly befriending the miraculous consciousness that carries you. Every part of you is already worthy, perfect, and you always have power. It doesn't have to feel that way for it to be true. I promise, no matter what you're feeling, you have more power than you know. You always have power. Always, unconditionally. And another fun fact, there is no such thing as an incurable mental health battle. I'm just going to throw that into all my videos. Just gonna throw that into all of them. There's no such thing as an incurable mental health battle, because 100% of internal battles stem from neurobiological wiring, and our brain and our body are being rewired in every moment of every day. Thus, any type of internal battle can be completely healed and resolved and transformed once we find out the neural networks that need to be rewired and then how to effectively rewire them. Thank you so much for joining Conversations with Kristin. Thank you for investing in your healing journey of life. Thank you for creating space for me in your healing journey day. I am now a part of your neurobiological data. It is an absolute honor to have a little energetic imprint of my message inside of your neural networks. Thank you. And have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will see you next time, beloved soul friends. Namaste. The expansive wonder within my being sees and honors the expansive wonder within your being. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and I'll catch you in my next video. And if you liked hanging out, if you learned something new, or if you just want to spread a little overall positivity in the world, I invite you to hit the like and subscribe button on my channel. The buttons are down there. Like, maybe on this side or maybe on this side, I'm not really sure. But there's these buttons, and it's like, and then there's like this other button, it's like, subscribe, and then you let go, and you like, click, and then I'm like, yay! That's how that works. That's the process of that. So please feel free to do that. I'll see you next time, soul friends. Have a beautiful, blessed, glory-filled day, and please extend some expansive, unconditional love to all parts of yourself, because you deserve it.